up here, or I'm going to have her
on
stay
him,
here.
and we'll see. Should be able to pick her up.
All right. Are all cell? Could you please check and make sure your cell phones are off, if you don't mind?
I've done mine. I'm getting better at it.
Ready?
Young lady,
Okay.
ready?
Yeah, that's fine. While she's getting ready, just a few ground rules for the press conference. We're going to have a calm and civil discussion. Anyone who gets unruly, gets out of hand, is going to be asked to leave. Everybody deserves the same opportunity to get all the information. Okay? Conduct ourselves accordingly. All right. Everybody set up?
That applies to you also. Come on, put it up here. We'll get started.
I'm good.
Are you good to go from there?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay. First, welcome. I'm Secretary of State Delbert Hosemann. I'm in Hattiesburg today to visit on the upcoming election for the mayor of the City of Hattiesburg. And I'm pleased to have with me Patricia Burchell, who is the district attorney for the counties here, including Forest County. As you know, I've already provided a statement to the press, and you can look at that. But the election in this city has raised a number of troubling matters. And we are here and have been working on making sure that we run an election and not a circus in Hattiesburg. We have been training the actual poll workers last night. We had staff here from the Secretary of State's office. We have trained all 5 election commissioners. Both the last 3 that were appointed were done last Friday at our office in Jackson. We have established a process where we are conversing with them electronically by email on a daily basis with the election commissioners here in the county, in Forest County, and the City of Hattiesburg. We will continue to do so. We will have people at the municipal clerk's office from the Secretary of State's office through the remainder of this week, including Saturday, when the municipal clerk office is open for polling. We'll be here on Saturday. We will be here in each one of the 14 precincts on Election Day. We will have a network set up at that time that will be coordinated by our office, our Assistant Secretary of State's office in Jackson, as well as 14 people on the ground, and we will have 2 additional ones at the municipal clerk's office. We will be in the polls when they open up. We will be there when they close. We will be in the municipal clerk's office when the ballots are brought to the municipal clerk's office. As part of that, any irregularities that we may see that occur during that process will be immediately reported to the district attorney and to the attorney general's office. You should anticipate that we will also, as this process comes through, we will also be reporting to the press. We'll have press conferences and releases by 10 o'clock on the morning of the election and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Anything that occurs in the interim, you will be notified instantly as soon as we have notified the district attorney and the attorney general of any irregularities. So you should anticipate a flow of information from us on election day. The Secretary of State's office is not the election police. We are not in charge of running the election. We're in charge of training the individuals who will run the election. The election commissioners now for the City of Hattiesburg are in charge of running this election. We are their support staff. That's why we were here last night with our election group, and also we were here with individuals who operate the machine to show them how to cut them off, cut them on, rotate them, and close them at the end of the ballot day. So we are extensively involved in ensuring that we do not have a replication of what has occurred in the past. Now, I'm going to turn this over to Patricia for a second, let her make some comments, then I'll make some closing comments, and we'll answer questions. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Secretary of State Hosemann. First of all, just thank you for being here today. We appreciate you coming to Hattiesburg. There are some concerns among the citizens of Hattiesburg about the election on Tuesday and what went on in the previous election, and that it could be a repeat next week. But I think your being here and explaining the procedures that you've implemented through your office will help alleviate some of the concerns that citizens have. Everyone in Hattiesburg wants a fair and just election, a clean election. And I think that by you being here and explaining what procedures have been implemented and what will be implemented will help alleviate some of those concerns. I just want to assure everyone that I will be in constant contact with Secretary of State Hoseman's office. I will be out and about on Tuesday. He and I have discussed, what will be happening that day at the different polling places. I will be in contact with everyone. If anything comes up that needs to be addressed by my office, it will be immediately addressed. And I just ask that everyone just go out, though, do what we need to do so that at the end of the day on Tuesday, there will be a fair and a just result.
And I want to echo that, too. I have got a 1-800 toll-free number that I'm asking any citizen to contact us on that 1-800 number if they need to. It's 1-800-829-6786. That is staffed from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. It will be staffed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and later on Election Day. So we will have instant contact with anybody who wants to contact the Secretary of State's office. And lastly, I want to say this to the citizens. This is the 4th largest city in the state of Mississippi. It has a $51 million budget. It has one of the leading educational institutions in our state located in this city. It's time to go elect a chief executive officer. It's time to go elect a mayor. We need to be emphasizing the election that is going to occur next Tuesday. Each and every citizen, the most important thing that you will do between now and next Tuesday, including next Tuesday, is cast your ballot. That's the most important thing. Don't listen to the latest rumor. Don't worry about whatever this or that. What you need to be doing is thinking about who you're going to vote for. And on Tuesday, you need to go vote. If you don't vote, don't complain. It's as simple as that. So the election of the 4th largest city in the state of Mississippi, millions and tens of million dollars of budget, our educational institutions here at the University of Southern Mississippi all ride on your vote. Go vote. That's what you need to be emphasizing here during the last week of this election. Making your selection and casting your ballot. We'll answer questions.
Mr. Hood, the Secretary of State's involvement, a lot of troubling things were revealed during the trial testimony with Dave Ware's election contest. Was some of that testimony prompted your office to get more involved with training and ensuring that the irregularities didn't happen again?
What our office is prompted by was the fact that the governor and I signed an order saying we had to do an additional election. Now, we only had this in 2 different cities, Canton and Hattiesburg, this year. So the fact that we have to come to the 4th largest city in Mississippi and conduct an entire election based off of judge's order that he didn't understand the will of the people, so he threw the election out. That's what rose to our level. Now, when they appointed new election commissioners, we're required to train those, and we have done that. We trained them last Friday and before that. And we are in constant contact answering questions today that they have as they go through this process. Many of them are new to it. I think all of them may be new to this process. But they're trying real hard, and we worked real hard last night. We'll have a makeup session tonight, and then we'll be working with them through the whole process to make sure that it's run right. But the reason that we're here is because it's important who's elected mayor, not what went on before today. The most important thing that we want to emphasize is that we have a free and fair election, just like the district attorney said, in Hattiesburg, and the will of the people is decided on Tuesday, and then we go about running the city. That's what's most important to me.
A quick follow-up. So you're saying, in addition to the training from your staff for election commissioners, throughout the process that they're going through of all the mandatory requirements, they have a direct contact with your office for any problems, any concerns, any hiccups they may have?
They do, and we've also brought into the Attorney General's office and their election staff, and we have a network that is ongoing now answering each and every question that they pose to us. We just answered one just yesterday, actually, on who could be in the polls. So we'll continue to do those every single day. I know we're in constant contact with the head of the election commissioner here and also the other election commissioners by email and also by phone.
One more question concerning your staff with the election. The poll watchers that we present at the 14 city polls and the city clerk's office, are these Secretary of State staff, or are these volunteers or community
That's a good question. Everybody that we send will be staffed from the Secretary of State's office. When I started this 6 years ago, I asked how we got the results, and they said, we get them on TV. And I said, no. So with that, we have been in 1,000 precincts in the last 6 years. It's not unusual for us to be in precincts. We've been in precincts in every single county in this state. Our people are well trained. You will find many of them, over half of them will be attorneys that will be here in Hattiesburg. They're well trained in how the process should go, and we have interconnected ourselves with cell phones and emails.
Thank you.
Other questions from the Hattiesburg American?
A question for you. The absentee balloting that's been going already, have you all had people at the clerk's office to monitor the current absentee balloting?
We have. We were here the opening day of the elections. We'll be, as I mentioned to you, every single day from here out. We assist the clerk if he has a question. Hermes has a question. We assist him in answering that question. But the final result, he is the individual responsible at the clerk's office for making sure those ballots are cast properly. But we're there to assist, providing the information. I brought with us, and you are welcome to look at, this is our municipal elections calendar and information, and this is our training manual. Now, this training manual is available online. So anybody that has a question about can I vote or how I do this, this is the same thing we trained these individuals on last Friday. The public is welcome to read it and look at it and also become knowledgeable about what should happen at the polling place and how they cast their ballot, from curbside voting to being a resident of the city. So all of that's in this. It's public, and every one of our poll managers will have this with them. Our poll watchers will have these with them when they come.
You mentioned in the who can be at the polls. In the past, we in the press have shown up there, shot some video, gone over to the table, looked and saw how many voters had cast their ballot at that location. Are we still going to be able to do like we've done, or if you would say who is allowed?
Yeah, well, you will be allowed to come in to shoot your video of individuals casting their ballot. You will not be allowed to stay, nor will you be allowed to interrupt the voting process in any way. People are signing up to vote, that's correct. You will not be allowed to video over their shoulder. We don't want you to be videoing while they're casting their ballot. That's intimidation to people, even though it may be public press. So your access to the polls will be granted again this election day, as long as you do not interrupt the ballot or photograph anybody that's casting their ballot. So throughout this process, you'll be able to come in, be able to take a general view of what's going on, show people coming and going from the polling location. We invite the press to do that. Just don't interrupt the voting process or show anybody casting their ballot.
Well, at my own precinct in the past, I've gone up with my camera and cast my ballot with my camera in hand, shooting.
Well, you're the voter then.
I'm the voter.
Yeah, you can cast your own ballot.
Also, from afar, I've shot faces of people that are at the machine. I'm not over their shoulder. I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, when they're on the other side, you have to be on the other side. From
I'm not be over the shoulder.
Yeah, you don't do over the shoulder. If you're showing them out there casting their ballot, you're on the other side. That's fine. And that time period should be judicious. I mean, you need 10 minutes or so to do that, but we don't want you standing there all day videoing people coming in, or any other member of the press for that matter. We will have access on press.
One thing that I will say on that note, I mean, there is an AG opinion that lets you go in there, but the bailiff has the discretion to ask you to leave. And if he asks you to leave, please go.
So the bailiff?
Yeah, the bailiff's in charge of each poll station. But generally, we have instructed them to allow the press to do their normal work. Other questions from you, ma'am?
You mentioned that the Secretary of State's office is not the election police. Who is the election police?
The municipal commissioners here. That's who runs the election. In a statewide election, you know, the county election commissioners are in charge of the election. They have to certify the election. Those individuals actually certify. For county election commissioners, there's 410 of those. We train all of those 410. For municipal elections, we train those individuals, and they are responsible for certifying under state law, certifying it. I do not have the authority to throw out an election, for example, or dispute a ballot. Those ballots are determined by the bailiff and the election commissioners for affidavit and absentee ballots in the normal form. Absentee ballots are allowed to be cast, as you know, if you're over age 65 disabled, if you're a student out of town on those days, those are what you're available, and you sign under penalties of perjury that one of those things is occurring to allow you to cast your absentee ballot. We have had issues with absentee ballots before. In Canton, we had 9 convictions this last time on individuals casting absentee ballots erroneously, and there are criminal sentences that go with that. So if you're entitled to an absentee ballot, disabled, over age 65, student out, caregiver, for example, out of the county 50 miles, they're listed in our brochure. If you're one of those, you're entitled to be an absentee ballot. Other than that, you are not.
One more question, Secretary. With the there's been a massive voter registration. There's been several thousand people registered to vote in the city election since the special election has been announced. Were the rolls allowed to be purged before the special election of inactive voters or deceased voters? I know the special elections have irregular circumstances around them, but was there the customary tidying up of the rolls before the election, as happens before a general election?
That is an ongoing process, and the answer is yes, we do purge rolls on an ongoing process. The election commissioners, this city uses the county's voter rolls, and the election commissioners here, this is one of the counties that does not have more than 100% registered vote. Jeff Davis is one that does. As you know, they're under a federal court order now, as is Walthall County, to purge their voter rolls. But this county has gone about a systematic, and it should, so election commissioners have gone about a systematic purging of the rolls that occur when people die, for example, or when we have them register in Louisiana or somewhere else they move away. That process was ongoing long before this particular election, and it'll be ongoing long afterwards. So they do have an organized purging process they've been going through. I don't know how many new ones were registered to vote. I haven't looked at that. Any other questions for me or the district attorney?
Just one question, I may have missed it. Is there a total number of folks in the Secretary of State's office? Could you give me an estimate as to how many in total are going to be involved in this election?
We will have 14 on site in Hattiesburg. At each precinct, we'll have 2 additional ones at the clerk, which is 16. I will be here. I don't know whether you count me, but I'll be here. The rest of them are quite competent. But I'll be here. And we'll have probably at least 2 others. In addition to that, we have been meeting with the Attorney General's office, and I don't know whether they'll have individuals. They have an integrity division and also 3 or 4 lawyers there. I don't know whether they will be present or not. We will have back at our office in Jackson, we will have 4 people assigned to telephone calls and instantaneous contact with the district attorney, the Attorney General. So when we get calls from a citizen who says, I saw such and such, I will have somebody in that precinct, and we'll get that information. We will share it with the district attorney. Is there a criminal matter? It's a civil matter. The Attorney General and I will respond. His division and I will respond to any questions they may have about that. We will alert the press. If we see issues, you should anticipate that our communications director will give you instantaneous notice of anything that we have going on that we feel the press should be aware of. We think the bright light of the press is really important in the integrity of the election, so you should anticipate instantaneous communication from our staff and a general press release at 10 and at 2. So I would say if you added them all up, probably over 20 of the Secretary of State's employees, of which we have about 90, I think, will be involved directly in this election.
Have you had any complaints or calls about the current absentee balloting or about the voter registration that's occurred since the new trial was ordered?
I have had calls with discussions about a rumor of this or that, and we have responded to those. Again, in a campaign where you have these candidates and we have a re-election running the election a second time, clearly the population becomes very concerned about this rumor or that rumor. For example, we had a call that you couldn't vote at an election place if you had a bumper sticker for one of the candidates. Well, I was quickly to dismiss that. We've had other calls that come in or things like that where you're getting down to just the minutia. What we need to be focusing on is not the minutia, but casting that ballot. Get your ballot out. Get your friend's ballot out. Take your mom to go cast her ballot. Whatever you need to do to get the ballots out is what we need to be focusing on, and not some rumor that somebody said this or that or the other thing. And those occur when you have an intense political campaign like you do right now. And our role, particularly for the district attorney and myself, is to make sure that we have everybody is eligible to vote, gets to vote. They vote just once, and their citizens here are entitled to vote. That's what we're about. At the end, we'll add them up, and whatever that plurality comes out to be, is who will be the next mayor. But the actual process is what we're more about than getting into all the rumor and innuendo, and I would dampen that by encouraging citizens, if they have a question, call my line. I'm there 8 to 5. Well, I'm there a lot longer than that, but you can get through from 8 to 5. So please call me if you got a question or a rumor. We're happy to get right up in the middle of it. All right, one more. We'll scoot along. I've kept her. She's got actual work to do.
The biggest focus, I think, in this one was on the affidavit ballots. There were questions and that came up in the trial. What assurances there can you give the residents, the citizens, the voters that the process there will be indeed, monitored and followed correctly?
We have trained, and we specifically, as you will see in the manual, see what we've trained to. We have specifically trained the municipal election commissioners as to that issue, and we will go over it again with them if they have any questions about it. How does that ballot count or not count? We've gone through that already. In the end, though, those 5 individuals make that decision. The bailiff does, and then those 5 individuals do. So those are for everybody.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.